Origin Watch is on. So every week from here on in, Matty, we're going to count down, have a look at the scheme of things, where it's at off the back of the weekend, maybe start to piece together the two teams as we get closer and closer. But let's take a broader view. So May 31 is State of Origin 1, the night of at Adelaide Oval, game number 1. Some of the news around at the moment. Josh Addo-Carr, we know off that injury off the weekend, out of contention for game 1. And Kalen Ponga's back in the mix because he's back training at Newcastle. He was man of the match in game 3 last year. Issues for New South Wales. Let's start at hooker. Let's start at hooker at the moment because Api Coruscant, of course, started game 2 and 3, and Brad Fittler went with the Coruscant-Cook combination last year in the end. But Api Coruscant is now playing at a team that's yet to win a game.
Yeah.
Is there concern around the hooker position or a question mark around the hooker position for you this far out?
Not concerns, question mark. At the moment, I'd have Damien Cook ahead of Api. If I was picking it tomorrow, to be Cook. Cook not going away on the World Cup last year was a godsend for his football. He looks great. He's consistently getting out of the congestion around the ruck and makes a big difference to South Sydney when he does. And yeah, Api's going to need a good month of football.
All right, let me read you the team from game 3. So this is how it finished up last season. So this is the New South Wales side. Then we'll dig into the Queensland side. So the fullback was James Tedesco. The wingers were Brian To'o and Daniel Tupou. In the centres, it was Burton and Crichton. The 5'8" was Jerome Luai, the halfback Nathan Cleary. Then it was Junior Paulo, Api Coruscant, Jake Trbojevic, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo. On the bench, Jacob Saifidi, Damien Cook, Angus Crichton, and Sifa Talakai. So that's how they ended up last year's series. Angus Crichton yet to play a game, of course, this year. So the second rowers, have you got any thoughts around that?
Yes. Well, if you look at the pack, I mean, in an ideal world, you'd have Cam Murray at 13, but Yo's there. He's such an important player. He's a cornerstone of your attack. So Yo's 13. Cam Murray takes an edge spot. The other one is Liam Martin said had injury, but if he comes back and is fit, he goes into the side. But Alakawatu, if you go by Alakawatu in his first month, you go, mate, he's up to his eyeballs in it. He's gone down a little bit the last couple of weeks, but if he emerges again, he'll give him a lot of food for thought. Some interesting ones around here, Matty. The outside back's very interesting. So as you said before, no Josh Addo-Carr. So, okay, what do you do? Now, a lot of people, this will start the Swahili talk again. But this is what I would do at the back. I would my two wingers, and let's say, for instance, that Tom Trbojevic is fit and ready to go.
Yeah,
right. I'd go To'o and Tom Trbojevic. I'd have Trbojevic at fullback because, in my opinion, fullbacks on the wing. Because, in my opinion, wingers these days have more involvement, are almost more blue ribbon than a centre. A centre is a real grafter. So I'd have Tom for his kick receptions and his ability. It's much easier saying to a winger, "Hey, listen, Tommy, just go and roam the field, do as you want." Easier for a winger to do that than a centre. So I'd have my back three would be Tedesco at fullback, Tom Trbojevic, To'o. That's a lot of yardage, a lot of punch. Okay, Latrell goes without speaking. He'd be one centre.
Yep.
And the other centre, we'll take your pick. Is it Whiten, is it Crichton, or is it Burton? So we've got a fair bit of. There's a lot of depth in the outside backs.
Whiten, Crichton and Burton sounds like a legal firm, but it's an interesting one, isn't it? So Teddy at fullback, you keep To'o on the wing, you bring in Tom Trbojevic, assuming everything's okay, and you put him on the other wing, so no room there for Daniel Tupou, and then obviously Latrell plays himself into that centre position, and the other one's an interesting one. Now, 5'8" and halfback. Any other day, any other time, any other year, you say, well, it's Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. Does it still be Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary? It's obviously Nathan Cleary. I
thought that Nico Hines was really he was breathing down Jerome's neck. I think if I was picking the side this morning, I would have Nico at 14 and I would leave Luai at 6. The combination he has with not just Cleary but Isaiah Yeo. That three combination that sits right in the middle of the field is just such a huge advantage for New South Wales. You look traditionally through our successful Origin sides, there has been an important combination that sits right at the core of the attack. At one point, years and years ago in the 90s, you had Ricky Stewart, Laurie Daly and Bradley Clyde. At other points, you've had Andrew Johns and Danny Badiris and Ben Kennedy there. So combinations are very, very important to a rep football side, and that Penrith one's a beauty in the middle of the field for New South Wales.
So each week when we discuss this leading up to Origin 1, I'm going to throw you a what if for both teams. So here's a what if for New South Wales. What if Nathan Cleary isn't available? What if he's hopefully not injured? What if he can't make that team, if he's suspended? What's the big what if around number 7?
Well, the temptation would be, it would be a split decision. Temptation would be to put Nico Hines into 7. I would leave Nico at 14 still. I would actually, if I'm picking it this morning, I'd give serious consideration to Adam Reynolds being in the 7. Just about what he's been doing, his knowledge of those Queensland players, given the fact he's playing with a lot of them now, and just his composure. I think, I don't know if he's ever played better than he has in 2023, Adam Reynolds. If
you're going to put Damien Cook in as starting hooker, does that make it more compelling if Cleary's not there to put Reynolds in?
Yeah, I think so. Matty.
Go with that combo. Righto, that's the what if, and that's the state of play so far for New South Wales. Now, Queensland. Here's how they finished the series team-wise last year. Ponga was at fullback. Selwyn Cobbo and Corey Oates were on the wings. Valentine Holmes and Dane Gagai. Tom Dearden played in number 6. Daly Cherry-Evans captained the team. And then the forwards were Lindsay Collins, Ben Hunt, Josh Papali'i, Kurt Capewell, Jeremiah Nanai and Patrick Carrigan. Tino, Harry Grant, Jai Arrow and Tom Gilbert were on the bench. So a few players there. We don't know about Kalen Ponga. But, they've got some backup if Ponga's not there. Reece Walsh playing terrific footy. The hammer we've spoken about as well. Where do your question marks sit on the Queensland side?
Queensland, Matty, again, we go back to my original point of today, talking about football sides that punch above their weight, is they know what sort of football they have to play to win. You look at that New South Wales side on paper that we just spoke about, and considering up front, you're going to have Payne Haas there as well, and how good he's playing. Yeah. You look at the New South Wales and you go, my God, how did they beat us? What a red hot side! But Queensland just always pick a side, right? That can beat talent. That's what they do. And it was very, very interesting, Matty, hearing Billy come out yesterday and going that he's giving Corey Horsburgh huge thought to pick him in the Queensland 17. Now, if Corey Horsburgh was a New South Welshman, there's no way they'd be talking about Corey Horsburgh. But Billy recognises something in Horsburgh that gets under the noses and can just upset an opposition side. And so Queensland, he's a Queensland type player. It's a bit like how many State of Origins games would have Billy Moore and Gary Larson played if they were New South Welshmen?
Yeah.
Honestly, where they were mainstays of the Queensland side. Queensland are very, very good at picking what is an Origin player. Tom Dearden, 12 months earlier, was really struggling, goes into Origin, absolutely kills it. Origin player.
Well, have a listen to Scotty Sattler. We've dug this out. So on that, obviously from the Queensland side of point of view, this is Sats's take on the problem with the New South Wales selection process.
I think where New South Wales have mostly got it wrong over a lot of the years is they pick players in form. There's been a pretty good blueprint for a lot of years, and everyone goes, the Queenslander spirit. It's not about the Queenslander spirit. It's about picking players that know what Origin represents, know what it stands for. And I think a lot of the time New South Wales have picked players in form. And sometimes that's not the right way to go. And they may do it again this year. But if Nathan Cleary's there, my first train of thought is you have Jerome Luai. Because if Jerome Luai is proven when he's got a Viliami kick-out outside him, like a quality back rower, a world-class back rower, that he's as dangerous as any number 6 in the world. Now, when he plays Origin, he's going to have someone outside him who's going to be a world-class quality player, and you'll see the same. So, but the question is, and I don't know the answer, and only Freddie knows that answer because he's one of the Origin legends, are the players that have been picked last year, do they know what Origin represents?
Thoughts about that?
Oh, yeah. Sats is spot on. I mean, Jake Trbojevic. Like last year, how do you leave Jake Trbojevic out of the side? How do you leave Josh Adokar out of the 17? Yeah, like even when Jake's not in great form, and as Sats just said, it's not about just picking players in great form. This is not possibles versus probables. This is about winning a State of Origin series. Jake Trbojevic is an example, given the fact that it's not just about what Jake does individually, it's what he gives collectively to the team. Right? He's a guy that the greatest rap you can get as a footballer is that other players want to play alongside you. And that's the case with Jake Trbojevic, and it was the same as Josh Adokar. I couldn't believe they didn't pick him because Josh Adokar makes the week fun. He makes it great. He's charismatic. People want to be alongside him. And yeah, the makeup and the dynamics of a football side, it's very, very fragile. And I think last year, a number of occasions, they just got the New South Wales side wrong. Whereas, like I said before, is that Billy Slater looks and goes, Ruben Cotter, like him, tough, mate. He's a Queensland player.
That was Sat speaking on Saturday Crunch Time with Sugar and Adrian Prezenko. So here's your what if, ready? And you've just mentioned a couple of those names. Here's your what if. What if Billy Slater, Cam Smith, JT, all go down to your mates at Sizzler and have a dodgy salad? You see where I'm heading? What if the Queensland Coaching Brains Trust can't be there for game one?
Well, there's a bloke right at the moment. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's coaching at he's coaching at Redcliffe or something. Anyway, he's an old bloke. Honestly, he looks like a cross between John Malkovich and Clint Eastwood. His name's Wayne Bennett. Yeah, you give him a tap on your shoulder, and yeah, mate. Matty, you get the feeling with Queensland is that you could almost say to the coaching staff, hey, boys, just take this series off. And the Queensland side would go into camp and have a clear understanding of what's required.
Yep. That's Origin Watch. We'll do that every week in the countdown to State of Origin game number 1 in Adelaide.